Hey everyone, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Ryan, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to add corner radius or rounded edges to your blog images. Let's go ahead and get started. So here I am inside of the Wix Studio editor, and maybe you aren't quite familiar with what I'm talking about. Well, if we look here at the About page, you can see a lot of the design that we're applying to the web page has rounded edges, including like the images here, the boxes, the containers, and like stuff like this. So all images and everything has rounded edges. However, if we switch over to the blog page right over here, you're going to notice that all of these have really sharp edges, and that's maybe kind of throwing off the design style that we're trying to go for. But unfortunately, if we go into the settings for this blog and we head on over to design and we look through all of these different settings here, there's not going to be an option to round the corners of our images. So what does that mean? That means we have to kind of create these images ourselves. What can we do about it? Well, I actually like using an app called Figma. Now, you can use any design software that you prefer or have access to. Figma is free and it's my personal choice and it's really powerful. But if you have Canva or Adobe Express or Photoshop or Illustrator, you can also do the same exact thing very easily. But for today's tutorial, I am going to use Figma. And if you don't have any design software and you want to try out my design in Figma, I will try to create a template version of that and put it on my Gumroad, and I'll make it either free or really cheap. I don't know. But if you just want to do it for yourself, it'll be an option there. But I'm also going to just show you how to do it if you don't want to buy the templated version that I created. But before we actually go over into our design software, we first need to know what image ratio we want to work with. So if we click the blog element, go into our settings, head on over to layout, and if we scroll down, you're going to see image ratio. Now we have 5 different options here to choose from. Typically, I will say the most popular version, and probably the one that looks the best to me at least, is the 4:3 option here, and that's the one you see here as well. So with that in mind, let's remember 4:3, and what we're going to do is head on over to our Figma. Now here are the presets that I've already created for you. So if you follow this preset, all you have to do is click the rectangle here, click on this fill option, change it from a color to an image, and then we can just upload an image from our computer, which I think is this one right here. Perfect. But then one thing I do want to note about this is if we head back over to our website here, we don't have a white background. It's kind of more of a creamy color. So what I want to do is come over to Site Styles, and I want to grab our color here. Perfect. And if I come back over to Figma, I can actually grab the artboard and I can change the background color of the artboard to our little cream color. And now that we have the artboard selected, the background is changed and the image is changed, we can easily just come over to export, and we can export this as a JPEG and save it to our computer. And then we can just upload it to Wix, but I'll get to that step in a minute. For now, what I actually want to do is actually go ahead and show you, if you don't get this template that I made for you, how can you create this for yourself? Well, what I want to do first is actually grab a frame. And what I want to do is just go ahead and drag something out. We're going to change it right now. So we're going to come over to width, and we'll set this by 4:3. And obviously that's going to be really tiny. But what we just did is created our ratio. So we can go ahead and lock the ratio here. And just for fun, let's go ahead and set the width, or we can even set the height to like 1080. And that's basically going to create the same thing that I created up here, so very easily. However, now we need to actually create the rectangle inside. So what we're going to do is go ahead and grab a rectangle here. And what I want to do is just go ahead and make this the same size as our frame here. So I'm going to line it to the top left and drag it out till it fills the full thing. Perfect. But I will say, if we go ahead and do it like this, then sometimes on the actual blog, it kind of clips the images and it doesn't look that nice and doesn't give it the rounded edges that we're trying to go for, right? So what I like to do is with this rectangle here, I will typically subtract 20 from the width, and I will also subtract 20 from the height. And then with these align tools up here, I will make sure it's aligned to the center, just like that. So that way it does have like a slight white background around it, and that should prevent any clipping on Wix. But with this rectangle now selected, we can head on over to corner radius and let's just set this to like 64. And just like I showed you up here, we could then change the background fill from a color to an image, and then we can upload our image just like that. And just like before, we can grab our frame and we can set the background color to be our cream. And then we can go ahead and export this as a JPEG. Perfect. And if you do purchase this, all of the steps will also be written out over here on the side. But now that we've exported this and uploaded it to Wix, we can now head back over to our website. So what I want to do now is go over to our dashboard. We're gonna go to blog and we'll head on over to our posts. Now what I want to do is just go ahead and select our post here. And what we're gonna do is go ahead and change this image here to the image that we created in Figma, which is this one right here. So you can see it kind of makes the image seem a little bit smaller because of the edges that we applied to it. But honestly, I think that's a really nice touch even in here, but we're not quite done yet, because if we already have an image in our featured image area, we'll need to replace it here as well. Or we can just press delete and it should grab this one and take it over. But just in case, we'll go ahead and press update and we'll replace it manually and press publish. So now just to check this, if we head back over to our website, and you know, it might take a second, or we can switch the page and switch it back just to see that it worked. Perfect, it worked. And now we can just do that for each one of these other images here. And just like that, we have created rounded edge corners for all of our blog posts. And if we actually head on over to a post page, we can see that the image is rounded here as well, and it looks really, really nice. Depending on which design software you use to actually create the images, as I've shown you, the steps might be a little bit different, but for Figma, that's going to be exactly how you do it. Again, if you don't have any design software, Figma is free, and you can either follow this tutorial and create it manually like I did, or you can use the templated version that I showed as well. That will be linked in the description. But that's basically going to wrap it up for today's video. If you all did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more Wix Studio content coming out really, really soon. Thank you all again, and I will see you all on the next one.